Hi everyone, welcome back to All Patched Up, the series on SwitchUp where we look at games that have been all patched up. Today we're going to look at the latest Tears of the Kingdom patch 1.2.0, but in our monthly series we cover a load of games in one video. You can click the little card up there, which will queue it up for after this. You can still save 10% on your eShop credit by using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg. You'll get 5% off instantly and 5% back in SwitchUp tokens. Alright, what's the patch done to Tears of the Kingdom? Well, let's find out. Let's jump straight into performance. There's one area in particular at the start of the game that I know drops down to that 20 frames per second limit. If you're unsure or haven't watched previous episodes of this series, Tears of the Kingdom has a very interesting VSync method whereby it will drop from 30 frames per second straight down to 20 and you'll see nothing in between. This area down by the water was notoriously laggy, as well as the Cocorico village, which we'll visit next. As you can see, frame rates are generally 30 FPS, especially when you're not using your Ultra Hand ability. Although it's difficult to tell, it does seem like there has been some optimization, with it able to maintain 30 slightly longer than before, but as you can see, it still has its limits. So over to Cocorico? I always forget the name of this one. Either way, over to the village, and the same story applies. Now, if you haven't seen Modern Vintage Gamer, you'll know that on an overclocked Switch, this area runs absolutely flawlessly, and that was only with a very minor memory overclock. To me, it really feels like they've done as much as they can without touching frequencies, and the same problem areas remain from before. Now, it's certainly not to say that performance is at all bad in this game. I'm surprised it runs and looks as good as it does, but I think there's very limited overhead left without touching those. Now, a quick red herring, with the recent leaked Spanish Switch 2.0 dev kit, if it is a real thing, I do wonder if we'll be able to have backwards compatibility and just play this at a locked 30 or 60 FPS. To me, that would make a lot of sense. Image quality remains consistent with previous releases. That is to say, it's quite sharp, but it does suffer from some aliasing, with noticeable jaggy edges and some fluctuation in resolution, at least below the FSR. Still, thanks in part to legends like Monolith, we end up with a game that looks quite beautiful still on the Switch. One other performance thing that's been bothering me since the game came out, probably not anyone else, but there's a delay when you're switching weapons, or when you bring up the weapon selection and then let go on a certain item. Sometimes it can be over a second long, and I've been checking just to see if that's been patched each time, and it hasn't. So Nintendo, if you want to do that one, I'd be delighted. Now onto the patch notes that we do know about. We know Nintendo aren't very good with those. Now, depending on where you are within the game, apparently by starting the game from certain articles released on a specific Switch news channel, players can receive a number of in-game items. Now, if you're not sure what that is, when you go to the home menu on your Switch and you go across, you've got that news channel. I'm not entirely sure what you actually have to go through, so perhaps someone can let us know in the comments, but that's interesting, if slightly unusual. Other larger fixes are that they fixed an issue where players could not progress beyond a certain point in the main quest, A Mystery in the Depths, and The Secret of Ring Ruins, as well as some other side quests, essentially game-breaking bugs, which were definitely few and far between for myself. They fixed some issues causing fairies to not appear, as well as one that was preventing the meals provided by Kiana of Lorelin Village from changing under certain conditions. Now, the final point is possibly the most interesting, despite not really appearing so. Says several issues have been addressed to improve the gameplay experience, and it seems to me that issues for Nintendo seem to be people doing things within their games that they don't want them to do. Do those things affect anyone else? No, not really, especially not in a game that's single player only, but they are putting clearly a lot of hours into tackling said things and want to throw people in prison for doing so, surrounded by their ill-gotten gains. Don't send the ninjas, Nintendo. I am just reporting facts. And the first of those is that Tobia's Holochasm doesn't seem to function as it once did. Also, if you were a fan of fusing meat together and taking it to the top of a mountain just because it was one of your hobbies, unfortunately you might as well not bother anymore. But if you have a weird fetish with stuffing things inside giant Zonai devices, well, you may have a bit more luck. Weapon state transfers also no longer work. Throwing during a cutscene's now, a bit pointless. And anything else you may do within your house. You can still fix your weapons by Octorox, but honestly, that doesn't seem to be a glitch. I'm sure there's something we've missed, so let us know down in the comments to help other people out. As regards things like glitches and bugs and things, if the game's a single player, I don't really care. I don't use them myself, but when it doesn't affect me, yeah, I'm not really bothered what anyone else does, so it surprises me that they put this much effort into trying to get rid of them all, and I don't know if they ever will. Feels like the old iPhone situation with jailbreaking. Either way, have you updated? Will you be updating? And if you found this useful, tickle some buttons. Thanks to all of you, our Patreons and members. As I said at the start, if you want to save yourself 10% on your eShop credit to pre-order any games or do whatever you want, we've also got our Pikmin 4 pre-order that's now live. You can use code SwitchUp. You'll get 5% off instantly and 5% back in coins. And that's over at switchup.gg. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!